You probably check your cash flow on an app, a number that tells you if you are safe this month or drawing. But imagine running an entire nation for 3,000 years, paying an army, feeding a capital city, surviving a drought that could last a decade without a single bank account, without one coin, just grain, and a group of men with reed pens who never let a single sack go unrecorded. Come see how the scribe kept an empire solvent.
I sit at the edge of the threshing floor before sunrise, my reed pen already wet. The farmers bring the harvest forward in baskets, and I count every measure, every basket, before a single grain moves toward the royal granary. I lived this every single season of my life. I was a scribe, one of thousands stationed across the provinces, and my job had nothing to do with coins or debts on paper. My job was counting flow. Grain flowing in from the harvest, grain flowing out as wages, as temple offerings, as rations for the men who built the monuments you still see standing today. You probably think this sounds like simple bookkeeping, primitive, a rough version of what accountants do now. Stay with me. Let me walk you through how the whole machine actually worked. Every flood season, the Nile rose, and when it receded, it left fields ready to produce 2 harvests a year, sometimes 3. The average farmer grew about 3 times what his family actually needed. That surplus was the entire tax base of Egypt. But here's what made it different from a modern tax system. We didn't tax value, we taxed volume, a fixed portion of every single harvest. Often 2/3 or more, depending on the province and the era, went straight into the state's hands. Not as a percentage of profit, as physical grain, measured on the spot, recorded before it left the field.
Twice a year, we ran what we called the ipet, a full inventory. Cattle, fields, labor, grain reserves, every asset the state controlled got counted and logged. I wasn't just writing numbers for myself. My records traveled to the regional governor, then to the royal court. The pharaoh's administrators could look at a papyrus and know exactly how much grain sat in every granary in every province on any given month. You call that a dashboard. We called it survival.
Here's what most people get wrong. They think all that grain just sat there. It didn't. It moved constantly. Wages for the men who built the pyramids were paid in grain, beer, bread rations. Temple staff were paid from grain reserves. Soldiers on campaign were provisioned from the same stores. Officials representing the crown in distant provinces drew their income from local granaries. The entire economy of the state ran on this outflow being just as tightly tracked as the inflow. You underestimate income and overspend, you're bankrupt in 6 months. We didn't get that luxury.
Good years didn't get spent immediately. Surplus from strong floods got pushed into deeper reserves specifically to cover the years the Nile failed us. This wasn't optional planning, it was structural. The granary network across the provinces existed for exactly one reason: to move grain from where there was abundance to where there was shortage. A bad harvest in one province didn't have to become a famine if the system worked the way it was designed to.
I want to tell you about a nomarch named Khelaly. He governed the province of Asyut generations after my time. He grew up during good floods, full granaries. He inherited a functioning system. Then the floods started failing. Not for one season, for years. His scribes tracked the declining flood levels the same way I tracked grain. And because he paid attention early, because he acted on what the records actually showed instead of assuming next season would fix itself, his province survived, while others around him collapsed into famine. The system didn't fail because grain stopped existing. It failed in provinces where administrators stopped watching the numbers.
You have records right now that Scribe never had access to. Dashboards, automated tracking, and most people still don't check them until the number scares them. Start tracking your outflow with the same discipline you track your income. Know what's leaving before it leaves. Welcome to Khelaly Business, where business is told, not taught.